So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm at your disposal now. As you know full well, you're already acquainted with this sort of session, question and answer session. So anyone who would like to ask a question may please raise his hand. Okay, Dr. Sahib, let's start with you. You better go to the microphone.
Assalamu alaikum, Huzur.
Wa alaikum salam, rahmatullah.
Thank you for allowing me to ask one question. Recently, on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr, a non-Ahmadi Muslim couple came to our house and we were discussing about a verse in the Holy Quran, and I will recite, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. And the couple interpreted that there is only one Adam in the Holy Quran, whether you call him a Khalifa or as a first man or third man or fourth man, and he is the exactly same what has been described in the Bible. I think you have given a good sermon on this topic, but unfortunately I was unable to find the tape, so I would be most grateful if you could throw some light on it, please.
Should I lead you to the tape, how to get your hands onto it?
Thank you very much.
Because this would require a longish answer, in fact. And if their interpretation is correct, first of all, you should ask them the question whether they really believe that humanity began only about 6,000 years ago, and the first Homo sapien was born just 6,000 years ago. I mean, this is a counter question you must start with. It will immediately put him on the defensive and he'll have to revise his own view of this verse. So in the light of that, then you can of course make him listen to the cassette which you are already in search of, which I hope the department of video department will be able to supply you. This question was not only addressed once, but twice, 3 times, many times, in fact. So you'll have some longish answers, some shortish answers, and in every answer, perhaps, there was some additional viewpoint expressed. Another angle was also given to the answer. So if it is possible for the department to put them together on one cassette, that would make it easier. Subject-wise, I mean, right?
Thank you.
So any other? Yes, please. Would you kindly walk over to the microphone so that your question is recorded?
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. So, on Eid occasions, many of my non-Ahmadi friends and relatives ask me, why do we celebrate Eid a day late, according to them?
Or they held their Eid one day earlier.
One day earlier.
Yes. In fact, the second is the correct position. The ulama, the present day Muslim scholars generally, have no idea, no knowledge of the sciences other than the knowledge of religion, Everything else is outside their domain. So sometimes they take the strict position of watching the moon with their own naked eyes. Recently, this has been their official position for long, but recently they have started to shift their position to scientific observations as well. But not understanding the scientific phenomenon, they make mistakes. The sighting of the moon is possible, as you know already, by naked eye or by calculations, mathematical calculations by the astronomical department. They know exactly when the moon should become visible. So what they can say is not that the moon will be visible. They can only say that if the weather were clear and everything else was all right, then it is possible for anyone to see the moon. So the moon is sightable not that it would really be visible to human eye. This is the position about their prediction. But there are other complications involved. The moon, when it is above the horizon, is not visible just by the fact that it is above the rim of the earth, because the horizon at that point is lying so close to the angle of the sight and the surface of the earth that the moon rays have to travel all the way along the surface of the earth to the person who is attempting to sight it. And according to the scientists, the air, despite the fact that it appears clear to you, is so heavy in itself that even if there are no particles hanging in it, it would refract and also obstruct the passage of light to a degree that it will not be possible for any human eye to see the moon at a certain angle. So the angle of the moon from the earth also makes a very important factor in its visibility. So according to their calculations, the angle has to be 6 or 7, I don't exactly remember, but perhaps 7 degrees from the point of sighting to the moon. So if you make a triangle from the point where you are trying to observe the moon, and the moon would be the other end, and the earth on that point would make the third point. So from the point you are observing, the angle should be more than 6 or 7 degrees. That is one condition. The second condition is that the moon should be at least 15 minutes above the horizon after the sunset. The third condition is that the age of the moon should be more than 20 hours and perhaps around 21 hours. If these three conditions are met, then the moon does become sightable, whether you are able to observe it or not. So we decide, Ahmadis, according to these conditions. If these conditions are met with, then the moon becomes sightable. Whether we are able to sight it or not, that's then secondary question. So we declare that because moon was sightable, so the Eid or Ramadan would start on the following day. Now they didn't take these things into consideration. So they started Ramadan one day earlier, when it was impossible for human eye to observe the moon. Only they found out from the observatory that the moon was above the rim of the earth, just above the horizon. But if they had asked, the scientists themselves would have answered that no, it is above the horizon, but it is not visible. It is not sightable. That is the difference. If you understand it, then you are able to defend your position. I hope you remember this.
But they mentioned that the newspapers, in the newspapers, it's as if, according to the newspapers, the moon will be visible on the night that...
This is what I'm telling you. The best thing is to refer them to the scientists of the observatory or some astronomers, and tell them to ask them this question. According to their scientific observations, was moon old enough at that time and high enough on the horizon to be physically visible, sightable by human beings or not? The answer will be a positive no. What they said, which they couldn't understand, was that moon was above the horizon after the sunset. So they thought, of course, the moon is visible. It's not visible. They're two different things altogether. A thing can be above the horizon and still not visible. No human being on earth can ever sight such a moon at that age, at which this moon was. And we, after having fully investigated the matter, then decided about it.